And welcome back to the Osu Mania 4K World Cup 2025. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. It is another day for this wonderful semifinals. Are we in the semifinals? Yeah, we are in the semifinals. Yeah, we are in fact going to have the second match of the weekend for both South Korea and Indonesia. They have gone through one losers bracket match already, and this is their revenge. South Korea seed number 3 and Indonesia seed number 11. At this point, the seedings don't really matter. It's just a matter of how the players scale at this point. So I'll be commentating. I am Pacho. I'll be commentating with Nightcore. How are you?
I am doing great, Padaraj. And as you were saying, the seeding doesn't matter, especially now under the semis where, the scaling has been cranking up a small bit. I think both teams are manageable at this point, but it's just going to be if they're going to be holding on to their comfort at this point as well.
Yeah, honestly, seeing this list of players on the field, I feel like they have a decent grasp of how semifinals play, and especially Indonesia coming out of their match against Vietnam definitely displayed a real proficiency on this map. Also, South Korea does have to be careful on this one.
Absolutely, I feel like this could go either way, and just looking at the picks they have performed yesterday, it definitely seems like that we have seen some amazing scores from both teams. But I think on the side of Indonesia, just looking at South Korea with their LN performance yesterday, I think maybe Indonesia might want to stray over towards more the Rice, maybe even hybrid. So I could potentially see more the Rice versus LN in a matchup like this. But again, Indonesia are just really capable of anything as well. They have the tools in the shed to cover all aspects. It's just who's going to be a bit more sharp at the end of the day, and still it can go to anyone.
Yeah, honestly, South Korea has been historically known for being quite an LN biased, team as a whole, especially with the names of Poka in the fray here. So we see the results of the rolls here: 80 versus 12. Unfortunate for Indonesia, but it is what it is. South Korea is just gonna have the opportunity to protect first, and they're gonna protect hybrid rather than LN, which is interesting.
I don't think South Korea have played hybrid in their previous match, but I think if we do look over in Indonesia's side, 2-9-3-2, I think they have consistency. I think Indonesia do have consistency issues when we have seen from the previous match that they have kind of struggled a small bit, and it's actually the point that they lost to against Vietnam. So I could totally see why South Korea would go for hybrid 2, maybe just trying to capitalize off their weaknesses. So for Indonesia, going to be going into the Rice-free protect. So I can totally see this as well. Indonesia very prominent when it comes to jump stream stamina oriented stuff.
Yeah, Indonesia does have to be careful about picking straightforward picks against South Korea, because South Korea is probably one of the most consistent teams all around. So especially when it comes to core checks, Rice number 4, that is. I think that's Rice number 4? Yeah.
Yeah, Rice number 4 is core jack. Okay, so Indonesia actually going for the hybrid 1 ban, again with South Korea protecting hybrid 2. I can totally see the reasoning behind it as well. Gonna be kind of more your stream oriented hybrid, and LN3 is gonna be getting out the window for this map, for this match.
Didn't quite expect South Korea to go for an LN3 ban. That is very interesting, coming from what I know from the South Korean team.
I would agree with you as well. Definitely a bit more interesting on the side. So, okay, Indonesia going for the Rice 7 ban. Again, against South Korea, I totally understand. Kind of going to be more your brutal tech pick, and going to be jumping into Hybrid 2, already into South Korea's protect. So they're probably going to be trying to get that morale confidence boost early on. And this map is very brutal to start with, very jacky.
Yeah, I feel like this matchup is not going to be quite the straightforward Rice versus LN matchup because, as we could see, Indonesia opted for a Rice ban, and Indonesia might opt for Rice picks instead. So we are starting to get into a point of the tournament where Rice versus LN just doesn't do it. It's just a matter of how the individual maps play and how the players can damage control over some of those brutal picks.
Absolutely. Indonesia, like looking at the last match they did play when they did see Hyper 2 on the board, was a bit more weaker on the side of combo, not getting any full combos from the previous match. But again, anything can still happen. I have no doubts that Indonesia can still get a free full combo. And looking at their accuracy capabilities as well. And here we go.
Oh no!
Redder.
Resurrect, like just missing on the initial long jack, and the long jack is like one of the identities of this Dans la mer de son with this hybrid, and not a good sign for Indonesia.
Especially at mini jacks, definitely do take a bit of that climax and difficulty, but Gex finds that trade back, which is going to be giving Indonesia the early lead. Again, this map is just going to be thriving off a lot of those bursts, a lot of those LN scatters as well. Some of those technical releases, everyone's still thriving off. Citra is smaller behind that 99.6, going to be favouring over towards the side of Indonesia after the first quarter. But now, here we are with the anchors. Resurrect that drop back.
Yeah, no, Resurrect was the one who missed initially, and no, those long jacks are not what they're about.
It is gonna be absolutely brutal, but the score difference not really being too much. I think if both sides are comfortable with the anchors when it does come to it, I think it can go either way. Again, if you're not comfy with the anchors at 175 BPM, it's a very tough map to keep your combo on, and we're only halfway through the map as well. So again, coming into the second half with that 1.5 Resurrect, finding that drop in the build-up as well.
Yeah, well, it is South Korea's Protect after all, so nothing too much lost for Indonesia. They can still recover on other maps.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, against South Korea's Protect as well, doing a very good performance. Resurrect just kind of struggling to keep the combo small down to that 99.5. Actually, still on the side of Indonesia from the side of Ray and Fire is also very strong. But I think at this point, it's going to be very hard for Indonesia to recover. The shields and just the mini density sections are still running in. Everyone's still really comfy with it, but with South Korea thriving off this, it doesn't really give any room for Indonesia to catch up. South Korea just dead ahead in the lead by that distance.
Yeah, I feel like that was also a pretty common theme for Indonesia versus Vietnam. I do feel like Indonesia does have kind of a third player dilemma at this point. So they have two really good players by the name of Fear and Rei at this point, and it's up to the player to play kind of damage control. And I feel like South Korea is playing on that element tactically.
Yeah, absolutely. And still, a very good start for South Korea. Pretty good performance as well on the side of Indonesia. So it's going to be now getting the MVP at 993 on a map like this where it's just absolute shield and anchor heavy. Very impressive performance. Also by every player as well. So actually only getting one full combo on the side of South Korea and two on the side of Indonesia. But it was really just those misses from Resurrect, which might have given away the point over to South Korea and kind of seal the gap before any breakpoints.
Yeah, looking at the accuracies as well, I feel like both of the teams are pretty balanced in different ways in terms of accuracy. So I feel like if we go into different picks, we might see some subtleties in terms of accuracy. Like for example, going into this Rice number 1, it's going to be very interesting in terms of information gathering, in terms of accuracy proficiency, in terms of like raw Rice.
So yeah, absolutely. Again, with the thing with Rice 1, 2, and 3, it's kind of more that test of pure accuracy. Now, I can see why Indonesia would jump into this. Looking from yesterday, Raid at 993 and Albert with the 992. So, maybe probably going to be trying to capitalize off that consistency a small bit with that 2 full combos. Fire, of course, missing yesterday, but I think they're well capable to get that full combo this time around. So I'm not even too sure if South Korea have played this as well. Okay, they have played it, and had a bit more decided consistency issues. But even then, maybe Indonesia just might want to capitalize off getting those free full combos. You can tell if they pick this, then they're definitely confident in getting that freeway full combo.
Yeah, I feel like you're on the right track in terms of what Indonesia is about. I feel like Indonesia is gonna pick picks they're confident in. They're gonna pick maps where they actually have a third player who is confident enough to pull off a good combo. And I feel like that's the case of Albert. Albert, historically known as one of the main carries, like physical carries of Indonesia. Yeah.
And that's definitely going to be what Indonesia are thriving off. Of course, Fire and Ray also being very good players in their own regard as well. And I think this is going to be a very interesting map to watch as well. So it gets pretty much into it. 2 minutes and 9 seconds, not much room for error, especially when you're facing consistency giants like South Korea. So even a miss could get South Korea that break point. But we'll have to see what happens. Of course, this isn't really a straightforward stream pick. It jumps straight into it, and you're around that 350 BPM range, and just to call it that, this is what all these players are comfortable with, is scary.
Yeah, Albert, a little bit up to a late start here, but not too far behind Citra, for example, so everything can still be recovered in those 2 minutes. Right now, everything is dead center, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just that slight accuracy advantage over to South Korea outside the verse. But maybe things might be more subject to change. Again, the stream still kind of ran down, but on the lighter side. But now as we start to approach the main verse, actually still slightly favours towards South Korea. Citra does kind of climb back up their way to that 99.9. Just Albert slightly ever so behind, but anything can still happen. Even a 200 on the side of South Korea can swing things back over towards Indonesia. But as this verse comes in, we'll have to see the mini jacks start to rain in as well.
Yeah, honestly, like the lead from South Korea is hanging on by net, like 0.03%, now 0.02. Oh, Albert actually missed. That is devastating for Indonesia.
That's what I was going to mention as well. Not really getting that best start into that Ki. Fire also dropping a small bit of accuracy, and of course that drop from Albert.
Citra!
Wait, Citra. Oh my god. Wait, it's actually going back over towards the side of Indonesia. Albert's got their combo back up. And actually slightly might slightly
no,
but Albert!
No, Albert, no! No, they had their occasion to catch up!
Okay. Wait, okay, we saw the ending, but even then with the ending, I don't think there's enough time. I think South Korea are going to be snagging this point away.
No way, that was a back and forth between the two players, but the two players, yeah, indeed, because like Indonesia did have the occasion to catch back up, because I feel like we're going to compare the accuracies right now, but wow, both of the teams are not invulnerable. And wow, that's not a lot of 200s across the board.
Absolutely. Raved at 1-200. Two-way V1SS on the side of South Korea. Definitely sharpened up their consistency compared to yesterday's match on this pick. So very impressive performance on the side of South Korea and Indonesia as well. But unfortunately, Albert with just those drops. Had it not happened, I think Indonesia would have had that point secured. But South Korea, the world's their oyster right now. So what are they going to be jumping into next? Maybe jumping in more to the hybrid side? Or maybe even one of the LNs?
Yeah, like I feel like what Indonesia had preyed on for this particular Rise 1 pick was a choke from one of the main carries, but fighting against a 997k and a 996k on Rise 1 is like really difficult to upset.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially just with the BPM and the training patterns in it as well.
So I wonder what South Korea is gonna go for. Rice number. Oh my god, that's daring.
Alright. They're just jumping straight into the deep end with Rice 4. Gonna be Korjak, so just looking at the players on the side of South Korea and Indonesia, we could expect something really low 300 counts. And even still, I think it's going to be one of those picks where it's like, if you find one or two 200s, then it can pretty much decide the match already.
Honestly, really interested to see what Indonesia can do on this particular pick, because I feel like Indonesia might have kept this pick for maybe for the late match.
Yeah, I was probably going to say that as well, but maybe just feeling confident at this point. None of these teams actually playing this week, so I think last week both teams had set some pretty strong scores, but I think accuracy-wise, when it does come to Korja, I think South Korea definitely have that advantage, especially with Gex. We do know for having extremely strong Korjak accuracy as well.
Alright, are we gonna have a 1 million score here on semifinals live on Osu, twitch.tv/Osu Live?
The closest we've seen was Peru last week with Angu, so maybe we could see something like that and get another 7 300s. Unlikely, especially that the map is around 3,000 notes, but we'll have to see. Okay, no one gets to 1 mil, unfortunately.
Yeah, the dream is dead. The dream is dead. I repeat, the dream is dead.
And here we go. I guess if I was to somewhat describe this map, I would definitely describe it to around a 32 Jack pick as well, where the start, yeah, is kind of more anchor control, but when you do get into the back half, it starts to rain down on more of those density sections as well. And here we are when the music starts to get that climax up, seeing a lot more of those hands. The score difference only by Resurred!
No, that is devastating for Indonesia, especially when you see South Korea just mastering this pick. Gex with 99.99 right now, aiming for that 100% roundup.
And yeah, even getting back up to that max combo count of 400, that is still a very big difference.
No, Spear also missing, so that's 2 full combos out for Indonesia.
Again, finding, yeah, as you were saying as well, finding drops in the Korjak pick is absolutely brutal and tough to catch up. We have seen Buzzchan find a few 200s scattered around, but again, up against 2 misses is not really what you want to see. Gex on at 99.99 and Ray just on at 99.97 as well. But South Korea do have to take some detrimental drops, have to trade back 2 misses probably if they do want to catch, if Indonesia do want to catch them out. But we're still heading into the back half, so anything can still happen. Resurrect finding a few 200s on that mini LN section as well.
Yeah, it's all up to Buzzchan and Nat to sustain their combo against Indonesia right now, because Ray and Gex are basically matched together, virtually I would say. But yeah, it's up to the 2 other players.
Yeah, we actually do see Buzzchan finding an early 100 just right there, but we're in the final KI now. 8,000, 9,000 point difference. Anything can still happen. Buzzchan still finding some of those mini spikes, but again, they just do not need to find a miss. 3 full combos is going to absolutely benefit South Korea at this point. But will anything happen? We're at the final A for the map. And Gex finding that drop! It's going back over towards... Wait, it's going back over towards Indonesia. They might be able to capitalize off it. It's slightly ever so coming towards back. Actually starting to... Accuracy is actually in the way of Indonesia right now. It can start to go back. It's slowly shrinking, but Gex back up to that full max combo count. I think another miss from the side of South Korea will have to bring over towards the side of Indonesia. But it doesn't really look like this is happening. Heading into the final few notes of those final stream bursts. And
Red, please, no! That last burst, 2 misses on the... It's nice Ray. Nice ratio, Ray.
absolute insane performances by everyone. 69 perfects on the side of Ray. Yeah, absolutely nice perfect count. And 47 on the side of Gex as well. Just playing absolute human metronome at this point.
Yeah, 47 300s out of 3,500 notes and just one singular clean miss in there. Just absolute madness.
Is just that was just nail biting to see at this point. And with South Korea on their third point, halfway through already, Indonesia do have to pick wisely for the next. And honestly, for Indonesia, going into LN4,
That is very interesting. That is very interesting. I want to see why South Korea is not leaning into LN, because I know that Poca definitely can handle those LNs, but it's kind of up to the rest of the roster as well. Like this is a team tournament. Like it doesn't matter if you've got like one really good player, the other two players still have to follow you, and Poca is not actually playing this. So what am I on?
Alright, looks like IME is going to be jumping in for a pick like this. Gonna be our LN Texo, gonna be more on the abrasive side. I'm actually looking from the previous map that both these teams did play. It's actually very close. 2965 on the side of South Korea and 2967 on the side of Indonesia. So very close altogether for both these sides. Maybe again, as I was saying with Rice 1, Indonesia might just be more relying off those full combos. Again, on a map like Rice 4, where it's just, not Rice 4, LN4, where it's just an absolute tech experience, it is going to be very hard to keep onto that combo. And even if they do sacrifice the V200s for the combo counts, then that will benefit Indonesia very well on a pick like this.
Yeah, I'm honestly interested to see like the dynamics in this pick in particular, because usually LN4 slots are pretty erratic, as we could figure out, and like this one goes wild. And,
Absolutely.
Oh my god, people are going wild in the lobby chat right now.
And the crowd goes wild.
And the car goes wild. Choo choo. That's not the sound of a cat.
Meow, meow, meow. Okay. 3 minutes, 34 seconds. Gonna be an absolute long race. Gonna have that stamina intact. So, let's see. Again, there are some areas to recover from. So, even finding a few 200s. Not gonna be mattering the most, especially in a tech map like this, where it is harder to control that PA.
Anyways, off the intro right now, we're going into some of the more intricate releases. At OD7, it's pretty forgiving though, so... yeah. Yeah, actually just missing in this intro build-up, but like combo breaks don't really matter too much if you have enough like accuracy proficiency on this long pick.
Yeah, and it looks like you're catching back up. Just a small bit of that late start, but again, throwing all the dumpy LN patterns in right now. Most of the snappings are a bit more abrasive, but some on the simplicity as well. Ray and Resurrect on the 99.8 when we come out of the first quarter. So actually slightly favoring towards Indonesia, I do believe, but that is still subject to change as we do get a bit more physical when we do get after this first quarter.
Yeah, honestly, it's like up to Yet to catch up in terms of accuracy, because right now Resurrect and Ray are doing an absolute great job at keeping Nad and Sidetrack Bay just kind of front running right now.
And here we are, the Rolly Shields. Everyone's still holding on very well, but is
no,
one of the
Ray just tripped on a rock on the way. No.
Oh my god, and that's brain. And again, that's still going to be favoring over towards South Korea, even though it was more of a minor accuracy drop. Resurrect also back down to that 99.7, So actually, again, back on the side over towards South Korea. So they just need to hold on to their combo, or Indonesia have to climb it back up, which, especially heading into the back half where it gets a bit more physical and the dumps are just going to be raining down on you, it's going to be hard to make that recovery. Still doable, but will Indonesia still be able to hold on to their combo, or will South Korea falter?
Yeah, honestly, like, it's up to South Korea to maintain their accuracy as well, because they could very well lose the lead out of accuracy alone.
Again, it is doable. The dump is still going in, bit that sprinkle of density as well. Yeah, almost on a 99.7 as well. Actually favoring over towards the side of Indonesia. Heading into the final drop, where I think South Korea will have to find a miss if things will swing over towards back on the side of Indonesia. But Resred!
No!
Wait, the trade! Okay, wait, hold on. We still have a bit of the map left to go. It's still doable. Okay, sliding over towards the side of Indonesia, but with both players on the max combo count, all hell breaks loose near the ending. Actually,
the lead is solid. Been between, like, it's going back and forth between 3,000 and 5,000 points for South Korea, but they could lose it in one instant right here, right now.
all it takes is a blink of an eye. Again, still being similar to the Ki, where you're getting more of those densities into the final area of the map, and it looks like South Korea in a nail-biting map going to be taking their second breakpoint against Indonesia. It was really just those misses on the side of Indonesia, absolute heartbreaking.
Nah, like, what got South Korea the point was definitely, like, both of the full combos from Nad and Yu. Like, going for the full combo here rather than the pure ratio and accuracy was, like, pretty much a good play, like, a good mindset to have.
Yeah, and even just looking at the scores, Nad with that 200s as well. On a map like this, very impressive. But even the ratios on some of the other players, and looks like South Korea going to be jumping into LN2, which at this point I think South Korea have found their comfort when it does come to LN. So it can still go either way. But looking at South Korea's score from last week on LN2. Very impressive at 970, getting that near freeway 990. So gonna be very interesting to see how this one does come out. I do believe Indonesia haven't played this map yet, so it's gonna be a bit new for them. Gonna be their debut on this map.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge for Indonesia to go against South Korea. The likes who are very proficient on accuracy.
So something actually kind of interesting. Nad, early on with that drop, Indonesia just had to keep onto their combo, but this early, again, it's still recoverable, but just that late start. I think this map needs no explanation. Gonna be your density, but packed in with a lot of those trills and some bursts in the middle. You put bursts inside bursts. That's how I describe this map.
Yeah, also the split trills are like very chokeable, especially at like 222 BPM. It's definitely not a simple map.
Absolutely. Like, on paper it does look simple, but when you actually look at it, it's the complete opposite. And looking at the scores right now, very similar. Bustron, the only person above that 99.8 heading into this break. But as I was saying earlier, Sidra are actually going to be playing this instead of Gex last week. Does make a bit of sense though, especially looking at their accuracy at this point. But as we head into the final drop, going to be seeing more of that similarity. The density is still riling up, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of those density bursts as well. And the burst in sight there, heading into this mini break. Hopefully no one finds drop here.
Yeah, hopefully no one finds a break on like the 222 BPM mini jacks, like transitional mini jacks for sure, and no one finds a miss. And for now, Indonesia does have this cohesive team effort build up right now. South Korea just, oh no, Nad missing! I was gonna say, like, Bustron definitely spearheading the South Korean team, but no, like those two combo breaks are definitely gonna be the doom of Pixel Planet here.
And there we go. Again, Pixel Planet being that brutal map, as you were saying, just all those bursts. But Indonesia back in the game, taking a breakpoint off South Korea. It is now in their. It is now going to be the world. They're going to be snagging that back towards South Korea, and it is going to be their next pick. If they can keep holding on, not afford any more, not getting any more breakpoints, then I feel like Indonesia would have a pretty nice comeback story.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm hoping for a comeback. I'm hoping for a comeback. We always root for the underdog comeback here, because like South Korea have actually won some MWCs, I believe, in the past years.
So I do. So looking at it, I do believe so. South Korea's last victory, I do believe, was 2022. So
yeah, I feel like I remember that.
yeah. So now Indonesia onto their next pick, and you could maybe get away with picking LN as well or hybrid. Maybe after how after LN2 went, maybe something like hybrid 1, or maybe they might just want to jump back into the Rice. But I think Rice might be a bit riskier at this point. So maybe if you want to try and jump into maybe more the LN picks as well, or
Yeah, I feel like Indonesia at this point is like thinking about the individual picks themselves, because like LN1 is probably risky for them because they don't really have as much finesse, I would say, as South Korea, but they do have an accuracy advantage in other fields, which is kind of difficult to compound. It's like thinking on the spot here, you don't have all the time in the world to think about your picks, so they're gonna go for this Rise, the high 19 Rise.
High 19 again needs no explanation. So gonna be our right. I do believe it's gonna be our like tech pick. So it's actually quite uncommon to see a pick like this. So actually looking from last week, I believe none of the players actually have played this. So gonna be surprising, as I do believe. But I can totally see why Indonesia have picked this. Showing their tech confidence over the last few weeks, I think they do have the opportunity to take the point off South Korea again. And this map is just, it needs no explanation, let me just say that much.
Yeah, you can just listen to the music and imagine the map behind it.
Yeah, so of course you have to get past the intro first, where again, that's the only thing. It is kind of angry, so that does kind of raise my question a small bit after how Hyper 2 went. So here we are, starting off. Albert a bit on that rougher start, but Nad actually finding a lot of those misjudgments at the first anchor.
No, this intro is so cursed. No, Nad, please!
That is a very late start from that. So at this point, if Indonesia just keep up their consistency, or just not really falter any drops, then this pick could already be over towards them. But we still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds in this onslaught to get through.
Yeah.
Still jumping in.
Yeah, sorry, South Korea does have a window of opportunity through the miss of Albert initially here.
Yeah, and just this map is, like, as you were saying, has a window. Actually, as I see that, Albert finds a drop in that first Ki. I actually did not notice that. Gonna be over towards the side of South Korea a small bit, but actually still favors towards Indonesia, despite Gex at that 99.93 outstanding performance. But the broken jump stream still keeps rolling down. But as we get into it, it's really if you just don't really tunnel vision some of those rolls as well.
Oh yeah, it's hanging on by a thread right now. I feel like it relies on both Albert and Nad to not drop too much accuracy. It's just damage control at this point, so it's a battle of attrition. No, Fear! Why?
Oh my god. That drop from Fire. Okay.
Oh, They need this on South Korea's side. Like, there's no way around it. There's not much of the pick left.
Indonesia just has to rely on that consistency, and especially finding a drop right before the final Ki is yikes. But here we are. Anything can still happen with the ending as we still get into it. More the dump sections, more the rolls are still starting to rain in a small bit. Everyone's still holding on very well. But is there going to be enough time for Indonesia? Yes!
The window of opportunity! Here! The lead goes to Indonesia on the last segment!
Oh my god, signs of life for Indonesia. Will they be able to take back this point? They will be! 7,000 point lead! And that was an absolute detrimental drop for Gex to that 99.9 all the way down to that 99.6. This is what Indonesia needed. They just needed that consistency check, and despite only getting one full combo, they were a lot more cleaner when they did find the misses.
The comeback dream is real, and especially like with the likes of Ray just popping off right now on this pick, like 996.6k is an absolute monster of a score in this lobby right now. It just stands out.
What an absolute score from both sides as well. 1-200 from that, 0-200 actually from Fire as well. And now South Korea are going to be requesting their timeout. So Indonesia, they're just one breakpoint down. If they manage to get a breakpoint, to their next pick and manage to win their own pick as well, the score will be equalized. So now it's going to be, as I said, timeout is going to be given by South Korea. So we do have a bit of time to talk about, I would say, stuff.
Yeah, well, let's talk about stuff, shall we? Like, we can take a little bit of a breather here because like this match has been really hectic, especially towards the last few points. Like the last few points have thrown some wrenches in there.
Absolutely, it's like just watching a badminton. It's just like watching a badminton match. You're just watching the shuttlecock go back and forth. For any of my Blue Box fans out there, of course, but
oh, Nad needs to fix their keyboard. I'm wondering what happened in this pick in particular.
Might have been the reason how they did find the misjudgments near the start. So that's what I might predict. But what we can predict now is maybe South Korea's next pick. I think after how that went, how they did have kind of more those consistency issues when it did come to some of the tech. Actually, all the tech picks are exhausted now. We just had the focal dump, which is the nearest, or maybe even hybrid free. I think South Korea might want to jump into something like hybrid 1 or LN1. If I need to check from last week, actually.
Yeah. I feel like a really hot take would be Rise 2 or Rise 3. I feel like they could just bank on their consistency, like their legendary consistency, to kind of secure the last points. But I feel like at this point, the last remaining picks are pretty risky at this point for one reason or another.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I totally agree with what you say now. After looking at the LN1 performance of Indonesia, I think it's a no-go for South Korea with that 99990 on the side of Indonesia. So again, as you were saying, maybe South Korea might want to bank off the consistency, but also I think Indonesia are yet to pick their protect, as I do believe, let me quickly look at it. Yeah, Indonesia have protected Rice free, so they still have that ace up their sleeve. But again, on a pick like Rice free, it is still doable for South Korea to take a point off that.
Yeah, like it all comes down to like the consistencies, because both of these teams, they are in semifinals right now. They are alive in semifinals because they are consistent teams. So it's all up to who's the most consistent.
And yeah, absolutely. Even in, well, just in any tournament, it's just going to be your true consistency test. The round's just more into the physical. And Hybrid 3 is going to be getting picked. Now, I think this is an interesting one from South Korea. Again, going to be one of our customs, is going to be one of our originals as well. But I'm very interested to see how this turns out. I was not expecting a hybrid free pick at all. But I
Yeah, I
guess
feel like sorry. I feel like it's one of those picks that you kind of pull out late game to kind of try and risk it for the biscuit.
yeah, I think maybe South Korea kept running out a few options a bit. But looking at Indonesia's performance in this map, a bit more on the consistency issue sides when it does come to only getting that 977k. So I think maybe they might be capitalizing off maybe that third player issue. But still on the side of South Korea as well. A bit more on the rougher side as well, only highest score being 99 points. I mean 979k. Maybe trying to brush up on their consistency a small bit. And actually Buschan not gonna be playing this one, even after seeing actually Polka and Buschan not playing this. Almost a full roster swap compared to yesterday's.
Yeah, I feel like Poké might not be available for this. Yeah. What are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. With that early miss. Not really what you want to see, but 3 minutes and 18 seconds going to be a bit more recoverable. Resort, actually, everyone finding that accuracy drop a small bit. It's just Ray who's still holding on. Again, this is a very brutal map to keep your accuracy on for a hybrid. Just mini jacks, reverse shields, rolls. It has everything as long as you have that many rubies.
Yeah. The way you can tell this is a hectic map is that no one is holding above 99.7.
Yeah, closest being Ray and Nod. Nod actually claiming the accuracy a bit up, but as we do get into the Ki, definitely going to be running up a small bit. And here we are with the Ki, going to be jumping into some of those shields and reverse shields. Not actually back up to 99.7, but Red finding that drop right in the Ki. Going to be getting the lead over back towards South Korea. But anything can still happen. That's a double miss from Indonesia. That's absolutely detrimental.
No, the double miss right at the same time on the same burst. Resurrect with another miss. That is, oh no, that is not good for Indonesia. They are looking to be put on a match point situation here.
That was an absolutely brutal freeway drop. Like, we have half of the map left, but South Korea with that 21,000 point difference, they will have to find a mishap as Indonesia did if they do want the score difference to be back more equalized. But with just South Korea's consistency right now, it is pretty unlikely that does happen. But heading into the final third, where looking at it, you still have a lot more of those jacks at the end, and still a lot more of those abrasive LNs.
Yeah, and Nad is like doing work on them. It's just maintaining that 99.70, just catching some stray 200s here and there, but still maintaining the 99.70, just doing God's work on this map.
Absolutely, just this map being absolutely brutal as well, showing more of those broken jump streams, LN density rolls as well, Nad actually climbing up a bit of that accuracy as well. Sidechar finding that drop, but when you have a score difference of 27,000 points, Nad actually finding that drop as well. Do not reverse this. Okay, we still have one more full combo. Even then, I don't think there's going to be enough time to get to the final ending coordination area. Yeah, that's going to be it. South Korea going to be taking their match points. Sidechar again finding that miss. Now we can imagine if Indonesia didn't find that double miss near the middle of the map, this could be a lot closer than imagined, but I guess in another universe. And it's going to be South Korea on that match point. Only one full combo on the board, showing you how brutal this map is when it does come to a lot of those patternings. Nad, what is that PA though? 5-200s.
Yeah, we can see the intricacies of South Korea's lineup right here. Like, Yi and Nad have more or less the same score, like 400 points apart. But I mean, you just going for the combo strategy and not going for the sharpshooter strategy. So quite different roles in the same team, but it is what wins them the match point.
Yeah. Again, like Indonesia are still a breakpoint down, but I think if they manage to take this point and a breakpoint, then we can still see tiebreaker. So for the side of Indonesia, I would have to presume they go for their protect. They'd have to go into rice free.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they're going for, because like the rest of the picks are just too volatile. Hybrid is too volatile. LN1 is too volatile. Also, it's pretty technical, I would say. Rice number 6 is also too technical, I would say. So there's only like rice number 2 and 3 remaining on the board.
We also do have rice 6, but again, looking at how South Korea performed last week on it, I think it's a bit more risky. But I think still all these rice picks are on the side of risk as well. Honestly, I think Indonesia might want to go into something like LN1 as well, just looking after last week's scores, getting that 99990, I do believe. But no, rice 6.
That is very risky, but I feel like Indonesia has this mindset of we have to risk, otherwise we're dead.
Yeah, so gonna be your vocal dump, gonna be jumping in, as you said earlier, risking for the biscuit, and gonna be interesting to see. Again, on South Korea, I do believe there was 1995. I do believe it was Buschan who did achieve it, but will they be going back in for South Korea on a pick like this?
Yeah, trusting the powers of Albert. Hopefully, just maintaining the combo. Probably, a combo strategy probably would be good here. Like, especially on a pick as short as 2 minutes and 21 seconds.
Yeah, very short as well, and especially when you're facing against, especially when two consistency giants are facing against each other. It's going to be a tug of war when it does come to some of those combo drops. But yeah, I guess I don't think we are going to be using Buschan for Rice 6.
What kind of references are they doing in the lobby chat here? Are those like
The Squid Game.
Are you gonna get copyrighted right now?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's go. We're gonna be taken down live.
Alright, so if South Korea does manage to take this breakpoint back, they will be heading their way into the losers bracket finals. So again, Indonesia playing with a bit of fire here, so hopefully they do not get burnt and hopefully they will take this pick. We'll be seeing more of that climax.
Fire, I get it. Because Indonesia, fire. Anyways.
Okay. Gonna be a fire matchup, I think. But yeah, here we go. Get it? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, oh, swear to God. Anyways, accuracies right now are pretty much balanced between the two teams, and gags, please. Okay, cool.
Alright, just had to get the human metronome in check. But here we go. After the intro, very slight lead over towards South Korea, but as we do get into the dump area, going to be seeing a lot more of those flowing dump areas with some of that jump stream and trills. Some of the mini jacks as well, maybe to catch a few players out, and some of those abrasive snappings as well. So I think it's around 1-6 if I do remember correctly.
Yeah, right now, just Indonesia, just 2,000 points behind based on accuracy alone, so it's gonna be up to sustaining combo, I feel like, on this one. Oh, Sideshow with an accuracy drop, with a substantial accuracy drop, actually.
It's gonna be ever so slightly in that tug of war range now, with that only 2,000 point difference. We only have half of the map left, so any 200s on the side of South Korea can swing things over back towards Indonesia. And Sidra!
That is, wow, just 0.3% accuracy down the drain from a column lock?
this is Indonesia's time to shine as we get into the final Ki. Signs of life showing on them. Sideshow back up to that 400 combo count before the final Ki. But
oh, Albert, the trade. No, that's not good to sign. No, 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 no.
okay, wait. Okay, things are going to go back over towards South Korea, especially with that combo advantage. But anything can still happen. Again, the second half a bit more stamina heavy, but the rolls and jump stream are still holding on a small bit. It can still go to any side. Albert finding that drop. Ray as well. And triple drop from Indonesia. That's going to be it, I think. There's no way South Korea gets a triple drop as well. I think that's it. Even with the dumpy ending, it is going to be it. South Korea, that is going to be the final nail in the coffin for Indonesia. A very unfortunate way to go out.
No, what a way to die from Indonesia. They were neck and neck against South Korea on this last pick, but all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. And they lost 24,000 points apart. They were right behind. They were breathing down South Korea's neck, but unfortunate circumstances, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And how close this match as well. It got scary. It got scarily close at a lot of times. Even with the big score differences, it was just mostly on that triple unfortunate miss on the side of Indonesia. But you cannot be disappointed with a performance like that. Absolute masterclass performances by both our teams. And it's going to be South Korea going to be knocking Indonesia down into, well, there's nowhere to go but up, I guess. So Indonesia are going to be going into the abyss and going to be saying goodbye to them. So very strong performances by both sides again, and a really amazing run from Indonesia as well.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really impressed by Indonesia, like what they could provide on this late game pool. And good luck to South Korea going into the finals against some of the best teams in the world. That's going to be a tough challenge for them to stay alive in the losers bracket. But yeah, we are going to see what the next episode is.
Alright, so it looks like looks like South Korea are going to be facing the loser of United Kingdom versus China, which I do believe is going on pretty soon, if I do remember correctly.
Yeah, it's going to be going after Hong Kong versus Thailand. Hong Kong versus Thailand is like... wait, they are kind of back to back between each other. But yeah, Hong Kong versus Thailand. Some teams that you do not really see too often on the late game field. So really interesting matchup. Not a common matchup to see, but a pretty interesting matchup nonetheless. China versus the UK is also going to be really interesting because I believe that China and the UK have very different profiles, I would say, in terms of team composition.
Yeah, going to be absolutely amazing to see both those matches. So stick on and stay tuned for that. And speaking of, you know what else you can stick on? That's right. You can stick on some banners on your profile. That is right. For the small price of $2.50, cheaper than most meals you would get in most places, especially Europe, you'll be able to stick on a very cool and swag banner onto your profile of all the teams that have qualified for the 2025 Mania World Cup. And there is absolutely no limit. You can have one of every team. You can have 32 of one team. The possibilities are absolutely, let's say, endless. And don't forget, whatever team wins MWC and you have the banner for them, it will stay for the remainder of the 365 days. So what are you waiting for? Just type in !banners in the Twitch chat, go to the store and go get some nice juicy banners, show off to your friends, and you will have the most amazing banner, and you will have that very fancy profile to show off to your friends.
Yeah, show us your builds, show us your color coordination prowesses, show us your profiles, show us your like 32 Iceland banners. I saw that once. It was really cool.
It was absolutely amazing. So maybe we might get something like that again. So if there is, then just send it somewhere, anyways, or just let us know and
Yeah.
we'll give you some.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, if you do so, I'm just gonna drop a like on Twitter.
Yeah, a nice cheeky retweet.
Yeah, nice cheeky retweet. But anyways, without further ado, we will sign off and come back for both of those matches at some time.
Yeah, and just like that, take care.
Bye bye.